What's up, you guys? This is Devin from CenturyFX Studios, back with another video. Today we're in a Lightroom module, and I just want to impress upon you guys the importance of looking over your images and the importance of your eyes when you're out in the field. Sometimes you might be in a position where you can't really see exactly everything, or you can't scope out everything, but it's always important to look. Now, I'm in the Lightroom module with Jenny again, and I want to show you guys one of the mistakes that I made as a photographer that a lot of people might not view as a mistake, might not see it initially, but after second look they might see it, or they may not never see it. Or for example, they might go with, oh, well, this is not a mistake, or this is something that we couldn't have corrected, but we could have corrected it. And this is why I'm showing you this. I want you guys to always understand you always need to be a critic of your own work. I see a whole bunch of photographers nowadays, and I'm not going to call out any channels. It's not about calling people out, but they stay critiquing somebody else. Why don't you spend some time critiquing yourself? Now, this is a shoot that I did with Jenny. It was a promo shoot that we were doing for my YouTube channel. And she did an awesome job as a model, but did I do an awesome job as a photographer? Now, there's some times where we both could have improved on some stuff, and I'm not going to say we're perfect and everything that we do, we're perfect. But we're going to go through about 5 or 6 images here in the Lightroom module where I kind of messed it up. And I didn't think about it until I got into the Lightroom module. Now, she probably likes the images and probably can't see it until I tell her that. And I probably can fix it in Photoshop, but it's definitely going to take a lot of time to fix in Photoshop. And the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 images that you'll see, or 5 images because we're on one already, is an image that I took with the 24mm STM Canon lens. So here you can see the little information from my Canon here, the loop data from my Canon, which is a lovely lens. I advise everybody get a little pancake lens, the STM 24mm 2.8. It is only for crop frame sensor bodies like your 7Ds, your 80Ds, your T5Is, T4Is, T6 and 7Is, T7s, anything smaller than full frame, it will work on there. But this lens will not fit on a full frame 5D, 1DX, anything like that. But this is an amazingly sharp lens. I love this lens. The bokeh is decent, but it is sharp and it fights away flare better than most of my older lenses. I realized that I have a whole bunch of old lenses that are not remotely as sharp as this STM lens, and it's great for video as well. But on back to my mistake. Here, Jenny is posing. This is just a general pose that, you know, like a stocking stuffer, just to send her, just to see if she likes it or not. But here's an image that we took in the park here. Now, I was so concerned about getting the image corrected from the last time that I went there about sharpness that I wasn't really thinking about what was actually in the image. Now, as you can see, the pose is okay. It's not, you know, first grade pose here, but it will work in some situations depending on what situation you're using it for. Now, we have this pose where maybe she could have spread the legs a little bit more, but more than anything, I don't like this bush here, right, that's crawling up the side of the rock. Because more than anything, if you're wearing a swimsuit, the point of you wearing a swimsuit is for people to see your body, for you to be in a cool area, go to the pool, do whatever and stuff like that. But if you're in a shoot and you're photographing in a shoot and you're wearing something either seductive or something that shows a lot of skin, you need to be able to see a lot of skin. You know, if your body's revealed, why would you want to be covered up by anything else obstructing the image? And here we have that obstruction of the image here on the left corner of the image, kind of in the corner on top of this rock. Now you might be saying, Devin, that's vines. Weren't they already there when you got there? Yes and no. We didn't decide to move them, which we should have. These vines really got in the way, and it really made for a subpar image. Oh, and in addition to that, there's some little grass pellets here off to the left of the frame as well that I can easily clean in Photoshop. But I was too concerned with the vines that are crawling up to her butt and just spanking her on the butt in the entire image, and it really grinds my gears. Now, like I said, I fixed the histogram. The histogram is pretty cool. There's a little bit of a not as far as temperature, but it's decent as far as exposure and contrast. The histogram off to the right here is really good. The colors are nice and contained. There's no clipping to the point where it's overbearing. It's a nicely displayed image, but you cannot let that distract the fact the exposure, just because you got the exposure right doesn't mean it's a good image. Just because it's nice and sharp and clear doesn't mean you get a good image. Just because it has bokeh in the background and it's clean and it's clear does not mean you have a great image. I cannot stand that. Even though you have a nice color display of nice grungy clay like browns and light tones in the background and greens and all these abstract colors in a relatively hard setting because it was hot outside, heavy rocks, having to walk so far, we getting sweaty and all of the stuff and things of that nature. Just because you're in this location, as a matter of fact, if she were to lean back 3 feet, she would be in that water. This was essentially a cliff, and that cliff had to be at least 10 feet down. And you'll see that later in a video what I do with Jenny and Jade where we're photographing in harsh environments. But no matter how hard it took you or whatever work you did to get this image, you cannot not think about the harsh or what makes the image bad. Because even though you might have all these good things about it, maybe it's framed well, maybe it's exposed right, clear, and all this other stuff. Think about that bush, and that really throws me off. That one little thing throws the entire image off. And I wasn't far away. I just didn't think about it at the time that I was there, and I didn't think about how much of the image it took away. Maybe it's me looking in the LCD screen, maybe it's me looking in the EVF or OVF, but I just I couldn't, from my knowledge, rip those vines off here because it would have showed so much shape to her butt, show so much shape to her legs, would have made the image a lot more gratifying and more satisfactory to the eye and to the subjects themselves. Because think about it, we can see pretty much anything online, things of that nature, and if anything, if you're trying to present yourself in a nice sexy bikini type of way, then you need to do it full out and with no obstructions. On to the next image, and the same thing goes on here where she starts to advance her poses and things of that nature, and lovely, amazing legs. Jenny has the best legs in the game. Everybody's telling her that, but it's just that every time I see this set of images, it makes me cringe. And these are the type of things that photographers won't tell you. They will stay trying to critique you on your work, but they won't critique you. They won't show critiques on their bad work. Every photographer takes bad images. Every photographer takes bad images. But how many times do they show you the bad images? And how much time do they spend critiquing their own work in front of you if they're your teacher? Rarely ever. So these are some of the things you want to think about when you're a photographer going through your stuff. Here's another image, which I thought was even better because we can see the roundness of her legs. We can see a little bit more of her body, more of her legs. We can get just a great look of a great sculpture-esque dance teacher who still got it, who is sexy, who is just in this awesome environment, but the daggone piece of vine and shrubbery and all this stuff climbing up the rock is actually distracting from the image. It's kind of hitting her and it's gonna take a bit to get that out of Photoshop and make it look real, and people can be like, what is that, so instead of having all that done, I can do that, except for this image, but I'll consult with her about it and see which one she likes versus which ones we both like, and then I'll spend the time on the ones that we would potentially use, and that's how that would go. But other than that, like, this is gorgeous, just gorgeous. Now that leg in the background is chopped off by that rock. We can talk about that later. And definitely, I should have maybe called her on that one. But with all these things being obstructions and being so compressed at 90 millimeters, we switched lenses. We went from the 24 millimeter. If we go back here, we went from the 24 millimeters. We probably could have saw some of this stuff to a compressed 90 millimeters on a crop frame body. Now we're at 90 millimeters on a crop frame body. I haven't done the math, but it's somewhere above 112, 120 millimeters, something like that. You really can't see much of anything, let alone direct the person. Mind you, we're filming all of this with another camera in the background. So I got to dodge this camera, dodge that camera, make sure I manage the light source. And I'm just by myself as far as, proctoring and authoring and directing this entire shoot as far as the lighting and the camera and the action and all of those stuff. So there's a lot for me to worry about. And a lot of people are like, oh man, that's a horrible image. But, it happens, and I don't want to be that photographer that says, hey guys, I do all these great images and I'm going to critique your images and I'm going to tell you when stuff is not sharp, and I'm going to neck roll and tell you this, that, and the other, and oh, this is not sharp and all this other stuff. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to tell you your stuff is underexposed without showing you my stuff that's underexposed, showing you my stuff that's not framed correctly, showing you my stuff that's not right. You have to be able to turn a lens to yourself. No pun intended. All right, guys, I'm done with CenturyFX Studios. This is just me making mistakes and me trying to show you guys this. Like I told you, I'm not going to be that photographer that shows you something that, oh, you made a mistake here. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. No, this is my personal work. And these are where I make my mistakes. And no, these are not straight out of camera. Some of them, if you look in the develop module, let's see here. This is, even though the develop module looks flat as far as the exposures and the highlights and lowlights and blacks and stuff like that, I did edit this picture and I took it into Photoshop and did some retouching on the skin and send it to her as candidates for posting if she wanted to. If she feels as though the need for me to do some work on that branch that's sticking out of her butt, we can think about that. But other than that, I'm done with CenturyFX Studios, guys. This is just me being honestly raw about my situation. Stay tuned for the next episode and keep clicking your cameras looking for your own personal mistakes.